For the mainstream of American society, mass incarceration is largely invisible. If you are white and college educated, for example, incarceration rates have not increased at all, hardly. And so for that segment of American society, mass incarceration means nothing at all. In minority communities, particularly among African Americans, if they live in poor neighbourhoods, if they have very low levels of schooling, if they dropped out of high school, it's been an utter transformation of the lives of those very marginal people. The criminal justice system has become a ubiquitous presence in their lives. The face of government in the lives of those poor African American, particularly men with low levels of schooling. The face of government has become the prison guard, the parole officer, the policeman. And so for that segment of American society, it's been an utter transformation. The social experience of American society among blacks as a consequence of the prison boom has become profoundly different from the social experience of American society among whites. Among blacks, even college-educated blacks, they know people in prison. They have family members in prison. The difficulties associated with life after you have a prison record, that forms a much greater part of the day-to-day experience of African Americans. And for white society, I think, that's largely an unknown problem. At root, what these men need is not more intensive supervision coming out of prison, but they need sources of structure and order and predictability in their lives that have a strong pro-social basis. So what are we talking about? Essentially, employment. And so in a Brookings paper I wrote, I looked at the cost and the effects of giving every parolee in the United States who comes out of prison, who is in need of work, give every one of those guys a job. And what would be the cost of that, and what would be the consequences of that for correctional costs, consequences for the costs of crime, and so on. And so, that's the idea I've been doing a lot of work on over the last few years. I think employment is the fundamental deficit, actually, of this group of men, and so that's really what policy has to target. The prison and jail population in the US is 5 times larger per capita than Australia. Australia has a very, very large racial disparity in incarceration that really is the mirror image of the racial disparity in incarceration that we see in the United States. In the United States, the ratio of black incarceration to white incarceration is about 7 or 8 to 1. So blacks are about 7 or 8 times more likely to be in prison or jail than whites. In Australia, the black-white ratio, if you like, or the ratio between the Indigenous population and white Australians is also about 7 or 8 to 1. Though these incarceration rates are much lower here. And my sense is Australia has not gone nearly as far, actually, down the path of punitive criminal justice as the United States has. And in the United States, it's a surrogate social policy for low-income men.